Welcome to Khanversations. I'm Muhtadar Khan, your host. And today I want to talk to you about a certain trend that is developing internationally where when prominent Indians leaders and politicians are speaking abroad, they are being constantly challenged. And this is going to become an epidemic because the way the Indian government and Indian officials are handling it is not well at all. In fact, in their effort to protect the politicians, they're doing damage to the image of India. So, what it is doing really is hurting India's soft power. For a long time, India has enjoyed this tremendous reputation as a very vibrant democracy with dozens of parties, thousands of television channels, and media avenues. And so there's a vibrant democracy with lots of internal debate and dissent, etc. But in the past few years, the Prime Minister's party, the Modi government, has been suppressing dissent, sending ED to anybody, any channel that challenges the Prime Minister Modi. NDTV had a lots of people who were very critical of the government, and eventually it was bought out by Adani, who is just a very close friend of Prime Minister Modi. And now NDTV has essentially become sycophantic. So this particular aspect of India as a vibrant democracy with a lot of freedom of religion, freedom of speech, is being completely undermined. And as a result of that, it's catching on internationally. So there have been 3 or 4 episodes in the past 10 days, really, 10, 15 days, which is going to make this an epidemic. Not only are Indian people going to be so scared of going abroad and talking because they don't know how to answer questions, especially tough questions. Plus, the reality in India is such that indeed there is a lot of suppression of dissent, there is a lot of anger, there is a lot of horrible things going on in India on a daily basis. You just have to go to X and you will see videos of people being attacked, people being beaten, people being slapped around, etc., etc. So that is what is happening. So what we really need to do is, well, I'm just going to shine a light. I mean, I don't make policy for the Indian government, but I just want to warn them that they are going to face an onslaught or an epidemic of tough questions. So let me give you a few examples, okay? The first one applies to the Prime Minister of India himself, but this has come into focus as a result of what just happened to India's Supreme Court Justice, Surya Kant. He was giving a lecture at a British university, Birbank University. Never even heard of that place. So he was giving a talk there on artificial intelligence and international law. I don't know why he was called to speak about artificial intelligence and international law. I don't know whether that is his field of expertise, but it was very clearly that the topic that was chosen in such a way that it did not touch upon issues which would open the door to critical questions on the rights of minorities, on human rights, on women's rights, on gender issues, especially on political freedom. Increasingly, people are taking note of the fact that India's ranking on the world press freedoms has gone down to 151. So there are 150 countries which have a better record when it comes to freedom of speech than India. So given all this particular episode with the Indian Supreme Court, so take a look at this video.
And within India, in His Lordship's recent, very well publicized remarks.
With due respect, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I will continue my question. When the respected speaker has referred to Indian youth as cockroaches and parasites, he should be given a chance to respond.
Give us some respect, please.
So basically what happened was he gave this talk on international law and artificial intelligence. And after that, they opened it up to question and answers. This is an British university, not India, where you just speak and leave. So this particular professor, I think her name is she's of Indian origin too. I think her name is somebody called Kalpana something, Menon, I think. So she asked a simple question about him labeling youth of India as cockroaches. And so she wanted to say that there is no room for dissent in India. That is what she was she was not even allowed to finish her question. So this is so stunning that the speaker, the moderator was already aware that tricky questions can be asked. And the moment she heard the question, she just jumped in to protect the Chief Justice of India, who apparently is unable to defend himself from a simple question. You know, what I found was, this is so stupid. She asked a simple question. She's saying, why is dissent being suppressed in India? And all he had to say was, what do you mean? I just made one comment calling young people, which was misreported, or whatever. He can try to exonerate himself, or he could have simply owned, yes, I misspoke and I said these young people are like cockroaches. And guess what happened? As a result of his comment, an entire movement has emerged in India. So there is now a cockroach Janata Party in India, and they had a huge protest yesterday on June 6th in near Jantar Mantar in India. And he could have said, what are you talking, young lady? Yes, I said that. Okay, fine. But in response to what I said, there was a huge protest in India, and nobody is suppressing that protest. The founder of the cockroach Janata Party flew from the United States to India directly to the airport. Nobody arrested him. If what she was alleging, that there is no tolerance for dissent in India, then Abhijit would have been arrested as soon as he landed in Delhi, and there would have been no permission to conduct the protest, and there would have been lathi charge like it used to be in the British era when there was a Jallianwala Bagh in India. He could have said all that, but the guy, he's a Supreme Court Justice of India. Is his IQ and mental capacity so low that he can't answer this question and I can simply think of it right away? I just thought of this answer while addressing this question now, that he could have pointed to the protests. In fact, the very fact that there are 22 million people who have signed on to CJP's websites, etc., which, by the way, the Indian government blocked, that is what she would have responded by saying, yeah, but you're blocking them. You're not giving them freedom of expression. So he could have had a serious dialogue, and you know what? He would have gained respect for himself. He would have gained respect for the Indian polity, for the Indian democracy. But right now, he looked like chicken, like a coward who ran away. He is like a coward who ran away from a very, very simple question. Okay. Now, like, for example, like when I do a show, you'll see a lot of Indians coming and, they don't know how to ask a serious question in India anymore. They will do all kinds of hate messaging and all. That's a different thing. She was not doing any hate messaging, etc., or threatening. She had a simple question about dissent. And unfortunately, they proved that there is no tolerance for dissent by not even allowing her question. So the point that I'm trying to make is, now that this happened, do you think that this particular Chief Justice of India will be able to go to any foreign country which has freedom of press and give a talk? Yeah, he can go to China, maybe even go to Sri Lanka, where I don't know whether even in Sri Lanka whether they will suppress questions from the audience. So how are these people going to speak in foreign countries and represent India where nobody is allowed questions at all? So they're going to go and talk about rubbish, connectivity, artificial intelligence, this, that, and nothing to do with your profession. You're a Chief Justice of India. Talk about the role of the Supreme Court, why you don't give bail to certain people, why you give bail to other people, why does Ram Rahim get so many bails, and why does Umar Khalid not get any bail for several years? So yeah, those are the kind of issues he should be addressing. That is his job, not running away from difficult questions. If he's such a coward, can you imagine what kind of judgments he's going to write? Let me show you another interesting video, and this is where this all began in the past 2-3 weeks. This is the Prime Minister of India, Modi in Norway. He did not take a single question from the press.
Prime Minister Modi, why don't you take some questions from the freest press in the world?
Well, I can understand Modi doesn't understand English. He does not speak English well. There is no teleprompter. There's no bureaucrats who have already written his answers down for him, no written speech. So he's completely intellectually handicapped. We can say that. So we can make an excuse for Modi for not taking questions and not answering them because he has an intellectual handicap, especially with regards to language. He can't speak the English language well. So, yeah, but you know what? He could have just stopped and turned to her and said, "What's your question, young lady?" And he could have just answered it very briefly. He could have even turned to one of his assistants and says, "Can you translate the question to me?" And answered the question and moved on, right? So for example, she probably would have asked a question about minority rights, and he can say, yes, every democracy is struggling with minority situation. We live in an era of social media. There's a lot of tension going on in politics, but India still has a great record of treating its minorities compared to other developing countries, and in fact, compared to even European countries where racism has become rampant right now. That's what Modi could have said. And then the press would have been on the back foot. But he sneaked off with his tail between his legs. And look at Dr. Jaishankar, who is such a great reputation. Is such a great reputation for answering great questions, great comments. But look at how he handled this particular question. So a reporter is asking him, what role did the United States play during the Operation Sindoor and the ceasefire, which India has become very sensitive to? I don't know why. But if you actually go and look at Dr. Jaishankar's tweets during Operation Sindoor, he said very clearly, I just had a talk with Marco Rubio, and then Marco Rubio had a talk with Ajit Doval, and J.D. Vance had a talk with Prime Minister Modi, and it was Donald Trump who announced the ceasefire before India, before Pakistan. That's established facts. You can go and verify it. So he's simply asking what the U.S. role is and see how Dr. Jaishankar answered this question.
Well, the U.S. was in the United States. So the Pakistani army sent a message that they were ready to stop firing, and we responded accordingly.
And where was the U.S. in this process?
Well, the U.S. was in the United States.
See, what a brilliant answer. The U.S. was in the United States. He had no answer. He didn't know how to answer that question. I'm so stunned. This is Dr. Jaishankar, a PhD in international relations with 40 years of exposure to international affairs, ambassador to Japan, ambassador to China, ambassador to the US, foreign minister since 2020 or 19 or whatever. And this is what he had to say. The US was in the US. Come on. So what happens when people give answers like this is it damages India's soft power. No doubt about it. Now more and more reporters are going to ask them these kind of questions. Now you go there and start talking about whatever you want to talk about. Oh, India is a Vishwa Guru and we teach the world this, we teach the world that. And then when the reporters raise their hand, you run away. You absolutely run away. This is terrible. This is undermining India's. That means that this particular government is not representing India well. So they should not go abroad at all. I think they should stay at home and deal with Godi media, which is so thrilled with themselves, and that's all they should do. Especially the Supreme Court Justice guy. I think he's done. He should probably retire. He's just doing all this just to get a minister or governor's position from BJP after he retires as Chief Justice. So that is what he's angling for. It's pretty obvious. He's become so politicized. But nevertheless, this is all I wanted to highlight today, that increasingly India is not able to defend itself internationally, and things are getting worse and worse. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, we had this great series of comments that Dr. Jaishankar was making abroad, which was like stunning. You know, his statement to the Europeans, I think this was at the Munich conference, or one of those events, security conference, where he said that Europe should get over the fact that it treats its own problems as global problems, and global problems they don't care about other people's problems or problems which are from the global south. So he has made very interesting comments in the past, which have, got him a lot of support at home and highly respected abroad. But now, where is the United States in this process? He says the United States is in the United States. Come on. You have agreed to do an interview with a reporter. He is going to ask you the question. Call me. I will tell you what questions these guys are potentially likely to ask. If the discussion is about trade, geopolitics, G20, BRICS, whatever it is, they're eventually going to come back to the role of the United States, because that is the turning point. India's denial of US role in the ceasefire is the turning point where India-US relations went sour. If you care about India's image, you should really ask yourself, is such performance doing good for India's image or hurting India's image? One of the great sources of India's, with regards to China, the competition with regards to China was great. Yes, China is great technologically. Its economy is doing well, but it's a totalitarian and an authoritarian society, whereas India is a democracy. Mr. Gokhale, the former foreign secretary, made this point that China is afraid of India's. It opposes India ideologically because India is a democracy and it makes China look bad. But if you have leaders like this who are running away, the Chinese don't run away from questions. They take those questions. You've seen Wang Yi not run away from any of these questions. He answers those questions. They're very, very clear. Xi Jinping doesn't travel as much. But when he does take press questions. Anyway, thank you for watching Khanversations. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share this video with your socio-political network. Until next time, I'm your host, Muqtadar Khan. Take care.